And Mr. Blank, we've enjoyed seeing the I-9 youth football TV commercial with you guys on the bus,
right,
and the young men going to work out. Even Thomas Dimitrov was a little disappointed with his role there. He only got a quick shot of him, but you guys looked like you had some fun with it.
We did. We were on that school bus. This is not a stage. This was a legitimate school bus. So everybody's knees were in their faces, and we were on that bus probably 2.5 hours to get that little shot in. And it's interesting. My kids. I thought I was perfectly in tune with everybody else.
Oh, you did a great job.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about that, Buck. It's like you said, a really good golf game. I'm not sure about that either. But my kids all say to me, Dad, you realize how out of pace you are with everybody? Everybody else has nice rhythm to them, and look at you. You're like bobbing around like you're going to your own music. So I don't know. I felt like I was doing pretty good.
Yeah, Leo Mazzoni was impressed.
Yeah, we had fun doing it, but most importantly, the essence of the commercial is really to support our Play 60 program, the NFL, and it's a serious one in terms of dealing with child obesity and getting kids out to exercise and finding time every day to get outside and do something for an hour a day, and we hope all our kids are doing that.
Good part about it, though, was Thomas actually has 2 of those kids from that commercial up on the whiteboard. Yeah, he's got them targeted already for around 15 years from now.
Yeah,
always looking for talent.
Yeah, he is. Let me tell you, he does a great job for us.
And too is Mr. Blank. You have an organization that doesn't have a bunch of people fighting for microphones and camera time.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I think that's impressive.
Well, it is, and I think that really speaks. Buck and I were talking during the break about the basic humility of the organization. I really think it's there. I think it starts with Smitty and Thomas and hopefully myself as well. And I think it's real humility. It's a real appreciation for where we are and what we've done. It's a real appreciation for the mountain that we have yet to climb. And so I think we feel fortunate to be where we are and realize we've got a lot of work ahead of us. But I think that humility is very sincere in our building.
Larry joins us on 680. Hello, Larry. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi. How are you, Mr. Blank?
I'm great, Larry.
Kincaid.
Hey, buddy.
Thanks for coming on.
It's going great. Mr. Blank, one
Yes,
thing I want to tell you is that your business partner was my golf partner for several years in North Carolina.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
Marcus?
yeah.
Yeah. He's.
I played.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I Bernie has a place up in North Carolina. And,
he does. He and I were golf partners for several years, and he once told me that if I pulled out my lob wedge again, he was going to stick it where the sun didn't shine.
That sounds exactly like Bernie Marcus.
Yes, it is. It is.
So
anyway,
you got the 64 degree out, huh?
Yeah. It would have been. It would have been gone too.
Yeah.
Believe me. Anyway, my question is,
Yes,
as far as the facility where we play goes, is there any chance we're going to have outdoor football in Atlanta anytime soon?
Well, we, as you know, we obviously play in the Georgia Dome, which was opened up in 1992, and it's since '92 there were 25 either new or significantly renovated stadiums in the National Football League. So we've been working very closely with the Georgia World Congress Center for really the last couple of years, and have a great partnership relationship with them, and hopefully being able to eventually build a new stadium somewhere on their campus. And that's a process we're going through with them. We were fortunate last year getting the tax that supports the building extended. It's a tax on hotels and motels, and what that stadium will look like, we don't know, but we're going to do the right thing for all the stakeholders, and that includes obviously our fans and Congress Center and our own franchise. So we'll have to see where that takes us.
Crazy what happened in Minneapolis, and we're expecting a little snow here,
right.
Sunday into Monday.
Yeah. The only comment that I would make in that regard, and I think our commissioner said this when he was in Atlanta, he came for opening up our Thursday night game against the Ravens, the beginning of the NFL Network season. Commissioner Goodell believes that football is best played, in the outdoors. He said that's the way the game was designed. That's how Buck played all of his football. Therefore, that's the way it should be played. So, but we have to be very sensitive to all of our partners, and we will be as we go through the process.
Matt joins us on 680. Hello, Matt.
Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Blank. As having been a Falcon season ticket holder and a a Georgia 4 season ticket holder for that matter. I wanted to thank you for what you've done for football in the area, and be
Thank
careful. Kincaid starts to twitch when anyone mentions arena football, so watch out there. But he's an Eagles fan, so there's no counting for taste. Anyway, what I wanted to ask, two things. One, I have to admit, being born and bred a Bears fan, is there any way you can buy that team too for me? Because that would be great.
Well, the NFL obviously does not permit that, so you're entitled to buy one team and only one team, and then obviously, you can't, you're not allowed to compete with one of your partners. So we would, for instance, not be able to go to Chicago and buy the baseball team. So
hopefully, Miss McCaskey spent some time talking to you.
Yeah.
The other question I had, more seriously, in the decade now that you've owned the team,
right.
I'm curious what experiences you've had being a guy that evaluates and reflects a lot. Things that you've learned, good or bad, that only would have come from having owned an NFL franchise. I mean, it's a dream for so many friends of mine and fans, and unless I hit 4 or 5 mega millions in a row, I'm never going to get to own the Bears and find these things out for myself. So I'm curious to see what that perspective is like from your seat.
Well, I think that, what you realize, and I had this conversation with Robert Kraft, who's the owner of the Patriots, when I first bought the team in 2002. I think two points he made to me, amongst others, which I think has really played out to be true. One is that the amount of media attention that'll follow you in the NFL is just greater than anything else you can imagine. And, having been one of the co-founders of Home Depot and second largest retailer in the United States, third largest in the world, when I retired, I thought, I didn't think that would change all that much. Well, that's changed dramatically. So I think that's one thing that I've definitely seen. The other thing, which I think is a significant factor, is that, and I think if you pay attention to your values, I mentioned earlier, your character, integrity, trust, building those values, etc. Those same kinds of characteristics, which were very successful for us in a company like Home Depot or other organizations, are also going to be the important kind of foundation blocks that you have to build for the NFL and the Atlanta Falcons. And I think those are the things that I've learned.
404-231-1680. You want to get in, talk to Mr. Blank. Larry joins us on 680 right now. Hello, Larry.
Well, hello, Mr. Blank. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you, sir.
Great, sir. I tell you, it's been a pleasure to have you as an owner. Jerry Jones, Mr. Davis, they had to take second seat to you as an owner. I've been a Falcons fan ever since the 60s when they first came to town.
Really? Great.
And I tell you, I have never enjoyed no season, no greater than what I have enjoyed since you have been the owner. I mean it with all sincerity. I know I'm not the only one when I said this. You was the greatest thing that ever happened for this team. I tell you, the question I have for you, sir, and Mr. Blank, is how did you become so knowledgeable? Every time I listen to an interview with you, you seem to be so knowledgeable about the football operations and about the players and all this. And a man coming from Home Depot to have this much knowledge, what are some of your secrets?
Well, the secret is it's a very big investment, and the second secret is that I'm a very detailed guy. And I believe in, you have to have knowledge in order to, be able to have a thoughtful discussion with anybody about your team. And I also feel like as an owner, it's, one of my responsibilities is to get, to know our players and to get to know their backgrounds, their interests, what they want to do in the future, their families, their interests in terms of philanthropy and things of that nature. So, I do try to get to know our players from that standpoint, and I think out of respect for the effort and the work that our coaches do and our players do, et cetera, it's important for me to know how they're producing and be able to really speak to those things.
Buck always gets on me for being a real planned guy. My wife and I, Mr. Blank, extremely planned couple, and it's nice to see that I share some traits with these self-made multimillionaires, too. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Eddie joins us on 680. Hello, Eddie.
Hey, guys. Mr. Blank, good
How evening.
Are you, Eddie? And,
how are you, sir?
First of all, compliment and thank you. I've been born and bred in this town, a Falcons fan forever, and it's been long-suffering, as you well know, and thank you for making us relevant. I also want to say that when you got doused on the sideline, I thought that was absolutely classic, and it spoke more to how I think the players respect you, as odd as that sounds, that they were so happy for you, they doused you, and with all due respect, I hope they ruined another one of your suits in February.
Well, you noticed it was Roddy White and Michael Turner that were doing that.
Right.
That's right.
And actually I didn't know who did it, and you know, I always watch the game tape the next day, so you know, it was going to be pretty clear I'd find out who did it. But my middle son was on the sideline with me at the very end of the game, as my family was, and he actually told me who did it, so it was great.
How about this 680 buddy Chuck Dowdle joining us here, wanting to talk to Mr. Blank.
Hey, Chuck, how are you,
Chuck,
man?
welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, always listening. But, Arthur, I just wanted to add my congratulations to you for this season. And those of us that have been around the NFL for a long time know just how difficult it is to put together an organization that's accomplished what you've been able to accomplish this year. And after what I consider to be extremely unethical treatment that you received 3 years ago from two key members of the organization, and how you trust anyone anymore is amazing to me. But just congratulations on a great year. And one thing that I do think Falcons fans need to get behind now is that we need a representative in Canton. I think it's an absolute crime that Tommy Nobis is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it's amazing to me that there is no Atlanta Falcon, and certainly Tommy jumps to the forefront, that's not in Canton.
Well, I certainly agree with you. I mean, Tommy is, you know, obviously a wonderful player, the first player the Atlanta Falcons drafted. And it looks like we have a shot this coming year, not, you know, an individual who played for us 5 years, Deion Sanders. And, you know, we'll see how that plays out. But, you know, we hope to build a group of players currently that potentially be considered for the Hall of Fame in the future. Chuck, thank you for your support as always.
Well, listen, congratulations again, and let's head to Dallas and win one there.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Great to have you on, Chuck.
Good to talk to you guys.
Thank you, bud.
We'll squeeze in Glenn. He joins us on 680. Hello, Glenn.
Buck, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, buddy.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Mr. Blank, I had an A and B question. A, how do you feel about either the lockout collective bargaining agreement? And then B, are you for, you know, parity in the NFL, or do you want to see no salary cap whatsoever?
Well, we, you know, as you know, obviously, you know, and probably a lot of our listeners know, the current labor agreement we have expires on March 4th. We've been working very closely with the union. The commissioner has a group of owners. I'm not on that committee. I serve on 5 other committees for the league. A group of owners and staff have been working very closely with the union over the last year and a half to be able to sign a new agreement. I'm optimistic that we're going to have an agreement. I'd like to tell you for sure that it'll be in the next couple of months. I'm hopeful that'll be the case. I will tell you that the commissioner and the staff and the owners that are involved and the ownership just generally would go any place and do anything, work 24/7 to make sure we actually do have an agreement. The current agreement that we have is just not sustainable long term. It's not a healthy one for the NFL. It's not a healthy one for our fans. It's not a healthy one really for the players over the long period of time or the owners. So it just needs some tweaking, and that's the process we're going through. And I'm hopeful that we'll end up with a good response. In terms of parity, I think that's been one of the fundamental strengths of the National Football League. The fact that the league does a variety of things, starting with the draft, where the team that has the worst record drafts first, and the team that wins the Super Bowl drafts last. In terms of free agency, in terms of players that are available, through the whole waiver system, and through the basic formation of a salary cap, I think it gives teams an opportunity to compete. And in July and August of every year, every fan in America believes that their team has a chance to go all the way, get in the playoffs and go deep in the playoffs, and maybe even get to the Super Bowl. And I think that's true. So I think that's that's an important quality we want to maintain going forward.
Can you feel the excitement around town? I know it's a little bit of the quiet before the storm here next week.
Yes, and that's exactly the way it is. But I want to thank Atlanta. I want to thank our fans for the last 45 years, but particularly for the last 9 years. I want to give tremendous credit to the coaches, to our general manager, and to our players that really over the last 3 years have produced three winning seasons back to back. 2 out of the 3 years getting the playoffs. We'll see where we go from here, but we're looking forward to a great conclusion.
Well, we certainly appreciate you taking time out. You've been very gracious to us, coming in once a year and sitting down and answering our questions, talking to our listeners to the show.
I'm happy to do it anytime.
John and I both really appreciate it.
Much appreciated, Mr. Blank.
You're very welcome, John, and our fans are really what support this franchise. And I often say this, without our fans, we have 22 young men playing sandlot football. So the fans are the difference makers.
Same thing with Buck and Kincaid. If we don't have the listeners, same thing. We'll be out in the streets.
You're right. Amen.
Great to have Reggie Roberts hanging out with you, too, Mr. Blank.
Get your feet off the desk,
Reggie. I want to
Reggie.
thank the President, Rich McKay, for coming on earlier today, Chris Mortensen, Jim Donnan, Trey Wingo, and the Falcons owner, Arthur Blank. We're back on Monday at 3 o'clock. Hope you'll be with us. John, have a great call tonight with Thrashers Hockey.
Should be a great time.
Till Monday at 3, have a great weekend, everybody.